This is Matador News, and these are today's headlines. EPA Administrator Scott Peart is answering Congress questions about where the taxpayer money is going. And Ford says it's going to stop making some of its smaller cars. Hello, and welcome to Matador News. I'm Jade Davis.
And I'm Ana Ramos.
A few hours ago, Bill Cosby was convicted on 3 counts of sexual assault against Andrea Constand that occurred 14 years ago. The Pennsylvania jury in Cosby's sexual assault retrial spent a second day of deliberating after listening once again to the entire testimony of the star defense witness. Margaret Jackson was Constand's academic advisor at Temple University. She testified Constand told her she would set up a celebrity for cash during a basketball trip in 2004. She also said that Constand told her she had not reported the incident because it was a high-profile figure. She had no proof. Under a cross-examination, prosecutors portrayed Jackson as overly coached by the defense. Jackson then said that Cosby's lawyer, Katelyn Bliss, kind of created her statement together. The panel began deliberating for more than 14 hours to reach the verdict.
EPA Chief Scott Pruitt is undergoing a day-long grilling from Congress about allegations against him of ethical infractions and lavish spending. Protesters gathered on Capitol Hill. Pruitt allegedly spent public money on security, a soundproof office, and raises for his aides. Pruitt says he was not aware of raises.
I have nothing to hide as it relates to how I've run the agency for the past 16 months. I'm not afraid to admit that there's been a learning process, and when Congress or independent bodies of oversight find fault in our decision-making, I want to correct that and ensure that it does not happen again.
Some lawmakers say Pruitt is unfit to lead the Environmental Protection Agency.
White House physician Ronnie Jackson has withdrawn from consideration as the Veteran Affairs Secretary nominee this morning. His decision was reached after allegations that he had prescribed medication carelessly and was intoxicated on the job. Jackson says these allegations against him are completely false. He says he's withdrawing because he believes this process is becoming a distraction from more important issues. President Trump told Fox and Friends this morning that Jackson's withdrawal didn't come as a surprise to him. He said he told Jackson days ago he saw where this was going.
President Trump also told Fox and Friends that attorney Michael Cohen was representing him during the Stormy Daniels controversy. Cohen has admitted he paid the adult film star $130,000 in exchange for her silence about the alleged sexual interaction with the president back in 2016. Cohen said last night he would plead the fifth in separate ongoing criminal investigations. By pleading the fifth, Cohen will not have to reveal any sensitive information. This is the first time a sitting president's attorney has pled the Fifth Amendment.
Arizona teachers are walking out today after the state failed to meet their demands for more funding and higher salaries. The teachers are asking Arizona lawmakers to stop tax cuts and restore education funding. Republican Governor Doug Ducey tried to avoid the strike by offering a 20% raise by 2020 and a 10% boost by next year. These education cuts started decades ago to raise economic growth, but the growth never came. It's been nearly 30 years since a tax increase was approved in Arizona.
The Golden State Killer has been caught. Sacramento police say they arrested 72-year-old Joseph James D'Angelo at his home after decades of investigation. D'Angelo is a former police officer and he is being charged with 12 murders in Northern California. 2 of his victims, Brian and Kate Majori, were killed in February 1980. D'Angelo is also being charged with more than 50 rapes and more than 100 burglaries.
One lady
Detectives use
who were
this
brutally raped in this crime scene. Sleep better tonight. He isn't coming through the window.
Officials are now searching D'Angelo's home in Sacramento. D'Angelo is being held in a Sacramento jail without bail.
Baseballs aren't the only thing catching air. A gondola may be the next means of transportation from Union Station to Dodger Stadium. The proposition has been made by a company funded through former Dodgers owner Frank McCourt. He says the gondola would be the solution to every baseball fan's biggest headache, traffic in LA. The gondola lift is to be built over the next 5 years, would whisk passengers to each location within 5 minutes. Mayor Garcetti announced the project at this morning Metropolitan Transportation Authority meeting.
Deaths from hit-and-run accidents are at an all-time high. AAA reports hit-and-runs have increased 62% since 2009. AAA's Foundation for Traffic Safety reported more than 2,000 people were killed in 2016. Most of the victims were pedestrians or cyclists. The drivers were likely to be young males with histories of driving while intoxicated, and one out of 3 of the victims were also reported to have alcohol in their systems.
The National Memorial for Peace and Justice is dedicated to victims of white supremacy, especially lynching. The memorial's opening in Montgomery, Alabama, overlooking the state capitol. A life-size sculpture in bronze of 6 people with rusting shackles, including a mother with a baby in her arms, is where the memorial begins. At the center sits 800 weathered steel columns hanging from the roof. Each column has the name of an American county and the people lynched there. Founder of the Equal Justice Initiative, Brian Stevenson, says many of these victims have never been named in public.
Thank you. CSUN's Earth Fair 2018 is an event that provides information on common environmental issues. Students and vendors throughout LA County are coming up with ways those issues can be handled.
Focus on raising awareness, and we're trying to see if we can expand this to the city as well, to see if we can get more water fountains around the city to reduce the use of single-use plastic, and then just encourage people to bring their own bottles.
With so many environmental issues, many think it's hard to keep up. Some environmental projects combat that by proposing changes to bring long-lasting effects in many areas.
Anything that you do basically that's environmentally friendly can actually trace back to the ocean. For example, if you decrease paper use, you make sure that our rainforests and all of our trees are doing their job to keep CO2 out of the environment, the air, which keeps it out of the ocean and helps protect coral reefs. If you decrease your plastic use, that's debris that doesn't make it into the ocean, doesn't degrade these ecosystems or hurt the animals. If you eat sustainably, you're directly affecting the fisheries that we have that can help sustain, a global population and also maintain these unique ecosystems that we have out there.
Being environmentally friendly may need to be a collective effort. Fairs like this one are hoping to encourage people to do their part. Now, let's go to Katelyn Von Meter for your latest health news.
Thanks, Brandon. Hartford, Connecticut inmates' food trays are serving up some good food in the jailhouse. Democratic Governor Danielle P. Malloy says throwing a little more money at prison meals will save a lot more down the line by making inmates healthier. Malloy says better meals also give the inmates the life skills they need when they re-enter society. The plan will boost the daily budget for each inmate by 10%. This plan has to become part of a final budget agreement between the governors and legislators. The CDC announced 31 more confirmed cases of E. coli, bringing the total cases during the recent outbreak to 84. The infection in current outbreak is found in romaine lettuce, but the CDC is still investigating where the contaminated lot comes from. The Food and Drug Administration, along with the CDC, said the source of the lettuce is the Yuma, Arizona growing region, but they have not been able to pinpoint the farm. The CDC is urging consumers to not eat romaine lettuce unless they know it is not from Yuma. Now let's go to Jose Partida with business news.
Forsyth's company will focus on making trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. This means that models like the Fiesta, Taurus, Fusion, and the regular Focus will disappear from the US and Canadian markets. Ford says by 2020, almost 90% of the Ford portfolio will be trucks, utilities, and commercial vehicles. Ford is not the only one. Chrysler and General Motors have announced similar changes. Members of the British Parliament are asking Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg to speak to them. They say that a formal summons could follow if Zuckerberg does not respond positively. The MPs want him to speak in front of Parliament because the answers given by his chief technology officer were not satisfactory. The lawmakers want to know why Facebook threatened to sue the Guardian newspaper when it informed the social media platform of a major data breach. Volkswagen's new CEO, Herbert Diess, says the company is on the right path even though it suffered a profit loss last quarter. The company posted earnings of more than 4 billion euros, a 3.6% decrease, but less than had been predicted. One analyst says the hopes Diess can get the company back on track. This is after the diesel emissions test cheating scandal that cost the company 30 billion euros in fines and other costs. Now let's go back to Katelyn with sports.
Thanks, Jesus. The first place Boston Red Sox versus the Toronto Blue Jays was a night worth watching for the fans at Rogers Center. The Red Sox snapped a 3-game losing streak with a Wednesday's 4-3 victory. Boston's leadoff man, Mookie Betts, scored in the top of the first inning, driving it over the left field wall for his 7th homer of the season. The Blue Jays tied it up quickly in the bottom of the inning after a throwing error by Red Sox third baseman Rafael Devers. The Red Sox took the lead again in the 5th inning. In the bottom of the 5th, the Jays tied it up once again when left fielder Steve Pearce hit an RBI single. The Red Sox right fielder Betts hit another home run in the 7th inning to give the Red Sox the win. The two teams face off again tonight at 7:07 Eastern Time. The 2020 NBA Draft is the earliest the NBA would change its draft eligibility rule and return to the old high school NBA rule. Former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice led an NCAA commission on the NBA Draft. She says teams don't believe players are coming into the league with the kind of training they should get. The commission is recommending the NBA change the draft eligibility rules. The NBA issued a statement saying they will continue to assess the NBA rules. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver says teams do not like the one-and-done rule. The NFL Draft starts in a few hours in Dallas, Texas. The Dallas Cowboys Stadium is home to the largest stadium in the NFL. This event is free, and so far 40,000 people have registered to attend the draft day. The first 2 rounds of the draft will be held in a portion of the stadium that has been converted into a theater. The festival surrounding the stadium fills a space the size of 26 football fields. The setup is so massive, AT&T Stadium is requiring more screens than have been ever used. The Cavaliers edge over the Indiana Pacers in a 98-95 victory in last night's Game 5 series. The Cavaliers throughout the game were in control until the 4th quarter. The score tied at 95. The Pacers hand-controlled the ball until a shot was blocked by LeBron James at the rim. 3 seconds remaining, the Cavs got the ball to James. James hit a three-pointer to win the game for the Cavs.
Triggers in. James, 2 seconds, 1 second for the win. LeBron James delivers. That's a winner.
LeBron had a total of 44 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, and a huge three-pointer in Game 5 win. Now let's go back to Jesus with this entertainment scoop.
Thank you, Katelyn. Kanye is facing backlash from fellow stars on Twitter because of his recent tweets on President Trump. The rapper tweeted, "He's my brother. I love everyone." He then tweeted a photo wearing a Make America Great Again hat, captioning it, "We got love." Singer John Legend was one of the celebrities that reached out to him and said, "So many people who love you feel so betrayed right now because they know the harm that Trump's policies cause, especially to the people of color." Kanye not only responded, but tweeted a screenshot of their conversation. Kanye simply replied with an "I love you." Jeffrey Wright, Jordan Peele, and Kumail Nanjiani were some of the other celebrities on Legend's side. And of course, Trump tweeted with a reply saying, "Thank you, Kanye, very cool." Crocodile Hunter host Steve Irwin is getting a star in the Walk of Fame almost a decade after his death. Members of his family will be accepting the star in his honor. Irwin is notable for his efforts in wildlife conservation. He was killed by a stingray in 2006 while filming on the Great Barrier Reef. The star will be located in front of the Iguana Vintage store in Hollywood Boulevard. Avengers hits the big screen this weekend. Are you excited? Enrie Amezcua in the newsroom has more.
Already breaking records is on track on being the second most expensive film of all times. Marvel Infinity War follows the Avengers as they take on their greatest adversary yet, Thanos, as he's on a mission to collect the 6 Infinity Stones to wreak havoc on the entire universe. The fate of Earth is once again put into the hands of the Avengers and their new allies. Some CSUN students are on the fence when it comes to the love-hate relationship between them and the film.
I didn't really like Thanos, and I know that's going to be I'm going to get heat for that, but I think Thanos didn't really impress me.
I'm actually kind of nervous because it looks like someone's going to die.
He wasn't wearing his helmet like he did in what's the movie Guardians of the Galaxy, so that kind of threw me off.
And if there's one aspect that viewers should expect, it's a cameo from the great Stan Lee himself. Now let's go back to the studio with the weather and news.
Leave your sweaters at home and enjoy the sun in the Northridge area. Currently it's sunny and 70 degrees. It would be 77 degrees later on this afternoon. Throughout the weekend, the weather would be consistently in the 70s and a low in the 50s.
Some sorority members make a World War II veteran wish come true. 92-year-old Paul Saunier's last wish was to dance with a beautiful woman. He got that and more when members of Phi Mu at the University of Southern Mississippi hosted a dance for him. His family appreciates that kind gesture.
My father is happy that this younger generation appreciates everything he did and sacrificed for, so that they could sit here and have fun and have the freedoms that they have.
It is a day that Saunier will never forget.
Thank you for watching Matador News. I'm Jesus Partida.
I'm Jade Davis.
And I'm Ana Ramos.
And I'm Katelyn Von Meter.